Will we see any Denver Broncos represent Team USA in the Olympics in 2028? Should the Nuggets head down to the Big Easy for some help this offseason? And the Rockies finally managed to do something that no one thought it would take them this long to do. This is your Denver Sports Daily for June 3rd, 2025.
The biggest stories, the latest news. It's Denver Sports Daily.
Will one of the best players on the Broncos find a way to join Team USA in the inaugural 2028 Olympics in flag football? Patrick Surtain is one of, if not the best cornerbacks in the league. Although if you ask Pro Football Focus, they seem to prefer Sauce Gardner. But it's clear that Patrick Surtain, who has played cornerback for 3 years in the NFL now and is the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, would be a top contender at the defensive back position for a spot on the 2028 Olympic squad. He would have to play both ways, something he has voiced interest in doing in the past, following the footsteps of Travis Hunter and Champ Bailey and others. And he voiced his opinion on getting a roster spot when the Olympics comes to town in just a couple of years. Surtain said, quote, "It's definitely high interest because Olympics is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." Surtain, as I mentioned, is coming off a Defensive Player of the Year award-winning season, and he led the Broncos defense to their first postseason appearance in a decade. It was their first postseason appearance since the 2015-16 playoffs when they have ended up winning the Super Bowl, and it was the first winning season since 2016. So a lot of painful streaks broken for the Broncos, and Patrick Surtain, obviously the figurehead of that defense. He would be an obvious top choice, in my opinion, for the Olympics, but there's 3 years to go before they start making those decisions, and who knows who will emerge between then, because age will certainly be a factor. In 2028, Patrick Surtain will be 28 years old. And for a defensive back, that's not exactly young. It's clearly a physical position and something that requires a lot of athleticism. And to be able to keep and maintain the high level of athleticism that he has will be challenging. Surtain was asked about his age and said, quote, "I don't know. We'll see how my body feels at 28. I just feel bad, to be honest with you, for the roster that comes out of maybe the United Kingdom or South Sudan or Indonesia, who worked so hard in their home country to be a part of an Olympic squad and wants to take place in something exciting the same way the United States does. And they walk out onto that field on the world stage for the first time and have to line up across Pat Surtain, who's ready to strap him up." That will be something that I look very much forward to seeing. And we'll see how much interweaving there is between the Team USA NFL squad and the actual professional flag football squad that will want to get their action in there as well. Having a Bronco in the Olympics would be a huge step forward, I think, for this team as they continue to kind of rebuild their winning ways and restore the proud tradition that was laid forth by Pat Bowlen that had seemed to kind of wither away over the last decade or so. When it comes to the Denver Nuggets, should they add a solid role player from the New Orleans Pelicans in this offseason? After losing in Game 7 of the Western Conference semifinal for the second year in a row, it has become abundantly clear for those who still may have questions that the Nuggets need to make some major improvements to their roster in this upcoming offseason. Easier said than done in some ways when you look at the apron situation, the fact that they have so much money, 82% of their payroll tied up into their core 4 players, and without slicing off a piece of that pie, which is harder to do than it may seem, they're pretty strapped for cash. The Pelicans have been a team that gets brought up often, as Bruce Brown is a free agent this summer, and he's been linked heavily to Denver. Cowboy Bruce posting the photo with the reaction to the Michael Malone news, wearing a Colorado Avalanche hat, showing up in the postseason, clearly still has links here. However, another New Orleans player is now being rumored to be linked to Denver in Trey Murphy. Murphy, in my opinion, would be an incredible acquisition if the Nuggets were able to somehow make the trade machine logistics work. The 24-year-old has a play style similar to Michael Porter Jr., but by and large, he's much more consistent with his game. Last season, Murphy averaged 21.2 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game, and 3.5 assists per game. He also, as a shooter, shot 45% from the field and 38% from beyond the arc. And let's be honest, Michael Porter Jr. might be the best three-point shooting iteration that the Nuggets have, but they are clearly a team that still desperately needs more volume and more conversions from the three-point line if they're going to contend with the continued arms race in the Western Conference. Maneuvering a trade like this would be no easy task for the Nuggets front office because they'd likely have to bring in a third team to match that dollar amount that Murphy is worth as he's heading into the first year of his rookie contract. And that's another thing that just makes his rookie contract extension, which is another thing that makes these NBA trades so difficult, is you have to find a situation where if you're the Nuggets, you need to find a bad team that's willing to take on your bad, bloated contract, but they're not going to have the assets to give back to you. So you need to find a third team to give you the good assets, and while that other team takes on your bad contracts. Speaking of bad contracts, everything is bad for the Colorado Rockies lately. However, they finally won their 10th game of the season after starting the season at a record of 9-50, reaching 50 losses before double digits in the win column. But it finally happened. The Rockies put an end to their fourth 8-game losing streak of the season as they took down the Marlins last night 6-4. The Rockies were finally on the winning side of a comeback attempt after what feels like a lifetime of losses. And it really is historic the way that we're witnessing this, because no team since the literal 1870s, since the tail end of the Civil War, has shown such ineptitude like the Colorado Rockies. And the fact that they won their 10th game in 60 tries is still a grim reminder of the remainder of the season left for them and how they're going to try to traverse this season, where they will almost assuredly flirt with being the worst team in the history of major professional sports. Colorado took a 5-4 lead in the top of the fifth thanks to Hunter Goodman's 2-run home run, and then they scored once more in the ninth inning to close out the game in front of a crowd, by the way, on the road that was about 5,000 or 6,000 people. They had a combined attendance in that series against the Marlins of 31,000 people for all three games of the series. The Rockies in single game attendances alone have eclipsed 31,000 in 25% of their home games. While it doesn't necessarily seem like a great win, it's impossible not to be a little bit proud, I guess, or smile in a sense. I don't know if I want to say proud because I'm not proud of the product they're putting on the field, but it does give you a little bit of a chuckle and a smile to say, like, wow, it's the worst 60-game stretch in the history of Major League Baseball, America's oldest sport and truest pastime, and the Rockies needed 60 tries to get to 10 wins. The Rockies play the Marlins again tonight for the second game of the series, and if they can pull a win out here, they would put an end to their 22 series loss streak. Again, another major league record that you have to wonder how long it's going to take, dating back to last season, before someone else attempts something of that magnitude. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been your Denver Sports Daily for June 3rd, 2025.